Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Casper, the boy diviner, and I'm trying a new setup today. I hope it works well. I actually bought a ring light on my right, and then I'm using sunlight here, so whatever. I'm just working with the shadows. But these are not the shadows I'm talking about. Today, my topic is really about shadow work in the metaphysical sense. I recently did a video on the best decks to do shadow work with. So if you haven't watched that, you can watch that right there, I think. If it's not there, it's on the other side. But because of that video, people have asked me how I work with my shadow, and especially how I integrate tarot into the whole conversation. I thought this video would be useful for all of you who ask me any questions about that. While most of the people asking this question, I guess you already know what a shadow is. The term shadow is actually by Carl Jung, so he was a psychologist. I don't know how relevant his theories are right now. I don't know how accurate those theories are. I did hear that a lot of the new findings actually invalidate what he talked about, but it's still very interesting because people are getting benefits from shadow work. For myself, I don't know if I get a lot of new benefits or major benefits, nothing crazy, but I think it's something that we all need to do. But before we go into that, the shadow work, let me talk about the shadow a little. This is a quote from Persona 3. If you play games, you will know Persona. I love Persona, and the Persona series is really the series that got me into working with the shadow, understanding what shadow means and how it can really derail someone, because in those games, shadows are actually the monsters that you fight, the demons that you fight, and sometimes they are people who are suffering, or the suffering part of people. Shadows are the lower parts of the psyche everyone has. Suppressed human thoughts given physical form, that's the game. When people are unable to face their darker selves, they break loose, free from all control. But sometimes, humans with special awareness can tame their shadows. Those are persona users. So do you want to be a persona user? I definitely want to be one. I feel like we need to learn to accept our shadows, and that is what shadow work is all about. Lower parts of the psyche, what can that mean? The shadow is the true self that is suppressed, a side of one's personality they don't want to see. That quote is by Morgana from Persona 5. From young, we have natural tendencies. Our natural personality wants to come out. We want to do things that we feel like represents ourselves, things that we have a tendency to, natural things we want to explore. But then these tendencies can sometimes be suppressed by society's expectations, by our parents, by people we come into contact with. Even though I mentioned young, it doesn't always mean it has to be a childhood trauma. My whole dating life has been a mess, and it has been affecting me a lot, and those are shadows I need to face, and this is why I've been single for 31 years already, and it's been so hard for me to accept that kind of shadow and the things I'm going through. I might be sharing things that are a bit personal in this video. I hope you guys understand and think it's okay. When we talk about shadow work, I have to be vulnerable. I have to share with you what shadows are and from my perspective, because no one can really tell you what your shadow is. Only you can find out what your shadow is. So some of the shadows I have to fight with is, you know, when I was young, I've been called a sissy, I've been called aqua. That is something in Hokkien for a effeminate male, and it has affected me all throughout my life. Even when I was dating, guys would say, oh, hey, you're not manly enough for me, or, you know, mask for mask, that kind of culture. That has affected me all my life, and even though I know it's wrong, even though I think they are wrong, it's been so hard to accept that part of myself and just be okay with it, you know? It's something that I have to work with intensively, extensively for a long time before I can really be okay with that part of myself and express myself the way I want to be expressed. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is why we do shadow work. We want to accept that part of ourselves. We want to alleviate that inner guilt, because I feel guilty, you know, for not being of a certain standard. I don't feel safe being myself. I don't feel accepted being myself, and that even though I'm surrounded by love, maybe let's say I think I'm in a better place. I have friends who love me, I have friends who appreciate me, and even though I'm surrounded by such a healthy environment right now, there's something inside me that is like, no, that is not great. That keep that part to yourself, you know. Mind how you act, especially in public. All those voices, all that natural tendencies now that hold you back. So once your natural tendencies were to be yourself, now your natural tendencies is to suppress yourself. This is what happens. This is how a shadow forms in your head. So all these shadows are within you, and you have to work with them to really integrate them to yourself. Like, that's okay, that's me, you know, that is me. What gets complicated is because sometimes some shadows are not right. You know, like your tendency to maybe wanna, I don't know, harass someone, the tendency to be angry with someone. Those are things you need to dig deeper, because shadows are deeper than that. So those desires that you that might be wrong in society might actually be wrong for yourself, you need to dig a little deeper. You need to dig another layer deeper. And I'll talk about how you can do that. But all of this is to get deeper and deeper and deeper to that root, the root of your shadow, so you can really learn how to accept yourself. And this takes time, this takes effort. Another thing that I feel like is one of my shadows is that I often feel guilty for talking about my problems or talking about myself. So I can tell my friend, hey, I need to share with you something. I share with them, and immediately before they respond, before they call, before I feel like they really absorbed it, I say, how are you? How are you doing? Thank you so much for hearing me out. Sorry for being whiny. Please tell me how you feel. So there's this internalized guilt that I always have because I feel like I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of being listened to. I'm not worthy. My feelings and my anxieties are not worthy of someone's time, or they're not valid. They're not valid. So even talking about this to a camera, about this to you guys, I'm digging deeper and understanding these tendencies a bit better for myself. So, shadow work doesn't need a deck. You don't need a deck to do shadow work. You don't need anything to do shadow work. It's really about self-conversation, about self-reflection. Let me go through the process I feel that shadow work needs, okay, to really integrate and dig deeper. This is something that I have come up sort of myself, even though I have read many articles, watched some videos about doing shadow work. This is how I would express it. The first part I think people always miss out on is to improve observing yourself. You need to always observe yourself as best as possible, as objectively as possible, and always be self-aware. I think this is the hardest part because when you react in anger, that passes. You don't realize that happened. You don't think about what happened. You just move on. When I say sorry for telling you all this, how are you? If I wasn't self-aware, I wouldn't realize I was doing that. So this is the first thing you need to do. You really need to observe yourself. Sometimes you can rely on your friends and family, people you trust, to give you that feedback. Hey, I realize you've always been apologizing for this and that. But that is easy when it's not offensive. Sometimes it's hard for your friends or people who love you to tell you the hard truth. So you cannot rely on them, you need to rely on yourself. And this is the first thing you need to improve on. Okay, the first thing is to practice observing yourself and being self-aware. Number 2 is really self-conversation. Asking yourself a bit deeper. Why do you envy people who are in relationships? Or why do you react so badly to people who are rich? Why are you like, oh, they can do anything, they are rich? This is something I'm working with myself, because when I'm rejecting people who are rich in that sense, I'm rejecting that part of myself that can embrace wealth and embrace money. So you need to keep asking yourself deeper. Why is it like this? Why am I feeling this way? Is it because of this? Is it because of this? Is it because I secretly want to be with them? Is it because, why am I so angry with them? Is it because I want to be like them? And if it's true, is there anything wrong with wanting to be like them? Why is there that internalized guilt and shame for wanting to do that? And if it's wrong, why is it wrong? Why do I feel that way? Why do I feel that tendency to do that wrong thing? You dig deeper and deeper, you ask yourself questions, you have that serious conversation. That's the second part you need to do. And the third part is really giving yourself that compassion. Like at the end of it all, it could be something you really feel like it's wrong. You have to tell yourself it's okay. At least I've reflected, at least I know it's wrong, at least I can work on it, at least I'm fine, and I accept myself fully, truly, and really try to accept that part of yourself and tell yourself it's okay. It's okay that you feel this way. Yeah, that's the kind of compassion you need to give yourself. So I feel like these are the 3 things you need to do to really work with your shadow and really integrate your shadow back into your life. I'm not going to give you some quick hack to really like, oh, you can do it and get great benefits next month just because you are doing some shadow work. No, it's an ongoing process. It takes time. Even I struggle with it, and I struggle with making time for it because it is uncomfortable. It's not something like, oh, I'm gonna do on my day off. Now you may ask, how does tarot come into all of it? Self-observation and self-inquiry is not easy. You don't want to face that shadow. You don't want to admit to yourself like, hey, you are one of them, or you want to take advantage of people like how they do. These are the darker feelings you may not be able to face yourself, and that's why you need the tarot, and that's why the tarot can be the objective mirror that tells you. So when you reach a point where you feel like you're stuck, why do I want to be like them? You realize you want to be like them, but you don't know why. That is when you can take a tarot deck and then just ask yourself like, let's try it out. This is the personal space tarot. Let's try it out right now. I'm gonna do some tarot, an example of shadow work here. So why do I feel the need to apologize every time I talk a little bit about myself and my anxieties? Why? So the card I got is the Empress. You see? So why the Empress? why does the Empress come out? So why do I apologize for talking about myself? Because I am the Empress archetype. I have a Cancer moon, and I feel like maybe deep inside me, I feel that need to always care for others. I need to mother others before they mother me, you know? Answering this question, I get deeper. Why do I feel the need to mother people? Why is it so? And right now, I feel like the answer is because I feel like I lose power. I lose power in this situation by revealing a vulnerable part of myself. In a way, I'm losing face. I'm losing my reputation. This person might think I'm crazy. So before they get it in their head, before they listen to me, before they hear all this out or absorb it properly, before they can understand, I quickly shift the balance towards them. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And that's how I try to hold that power within me. But why do I want that power? See, next question. Why do I want to hold on to that power in this dynamic? Why do I feel embarrassed about having these issues? Why do I want to hold onto that power? Let's see. 10 of Swords. I want to hold on to that power because I'm so afraid of failure, you know? I'm so afraid of looking like a failure. I'm so afraid of not only looking like a failure, but I'm so afraid that people would actually betray me. Like in this picture where people stabbed him in the back. So I hope you understand through this practice, you can really dig deeper and deeper. Why am I afraid of people stabbing me in the back? Why am I afraid to show that vulnerable side, my back, to someone who I trust? It's because when I lose that power, they have that power to really hurt me. And why am I so afraid of that hurt? I go a bit deeper and deeper and deeper. This is how you do shadow work with the tarot. And honestly guys, I didn't prepare like these cards. These just came out because from any card, honestly, I think that it'll be a reflection of how you might feel, a facet of why you feel this way or why you have this shadow, and you go deeper and deeper. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was illuminating. Of course, there are other techniques you can do with shadow work. For example, meditation. I think meditation is really important for that first part. Meditation is really important for that first step, observing yourself and self-awareness. I often feel like meditation allows me to understand myself a bit better, or to understand my tendencies a little better, just because you're a bit more objective. Another kind of meditation is this book I read, Feeding Your Demons. I really enjoyed the book. I have not tried it out, but I think it is also shadow work because you are feeding the demons that are within you. Other things you can try is EFT, which is a tapping therapy. I used to do it to relax myself, but I kind of stopped. I don't know. If you guys have any other techniques for shadow work, please share it down below. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe, and also let me know. I can always talk more about my experiences here. You know, and I've not seen people actually do shadow work in front of a camera practically, so someone really understands. So I hope this video brought you that kind of value. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of the day. You take care. Bye.